She exhaled softly, scrolling through her phone at the breakfast table as I finished pouring her coffee exactly how she preferred it. 2 sugars, a splash of oat milk, nothing more, nothing less. I'd risen early that Saturday to prepare blueberry pancakes from scratch, the sort she used to praise enthusiastically when we first began sharing this place. The kitchen still carried the aroma of vanilla and fresh batter, while gentle jazz drifted from the speaker on the counter. I hoped today would feel relaxed, reminiscent of the weekends we once enjoyed before life grew so hectic. I placed the plate before her and took my seat opposite with my own serving. She looked up briefly to offer a quiet thank you, then returned her focus to the screen. Her thumb swiped in rapid motions that I observed for a moment, noticing how the morning sunlight highlighted the stray wisps of hair framing her face. We'd been together 4 years now, residing in this cozy loft downtown for 2. I still adored how she appeared when she wasn't making an effort. Hoodie partially zipped, legs curled beneath her on the chair. "How did you sleep?" I inquired, slicing into a pancake. "Fine," she replied without glancing up, stayed up late replying to messages. She'd been doing that frequently recently, remaining awake after I'd gone to bed, the phone illuminating the darkness next to her. I'd inquired once or twice whether everything was all right, and she dismissed it as job pressure or former college acquaintances resurfacing. I trusted her. I always trusted her. We dined in almost complete quiet, the jazz bridging the pauses. When she eventually put her phone aside, she toyed with the pancakes, consuming just a couple of mouthfuls. "These are nice," she remarked, though her voice lacked enthusiasm, as if reciting a scripted response. I grinned regardless, happy you enjoyed them. I suggested perhaps we could visit the farmer's market later, select items for dinner. The weather is supposed to be pleasant. She gave a slight shrug. Maybe I could already have arrangements. Arrangements, I kept my tone casual. With whom? Just a few folks from that professional group I joined. She rose, carrying her plate to the sink. "You know, the creative networking circle," I nodded. She'd spoken of the group several times, primarily artists, camera enthusiasts, and entrepreneurial individuals. She aimed to expand beyond her daily graphic design role, develop a freelance venture on the side. I fully backed it. I'd even assisted her in refreshing her portfolio website last month, remaining awake until 2 in the morning adjusting the code so her animations performed more smoothly. "Sounds good," I said. "Want me to join?" She activated the faucet, rinsing her plate with more attention than usual. "I think it's preferable if I attend by myself this time. It's more productive that way." Something in her delivery caused my chest to clench, but I suppressed it. "Okay, no issue. I'll occupy myself somehow." She wiped her hands and approached, giving a brief kiss to the crown of my head. "You're thoughtful," she said, and then she departed, heading to the bedroom to prepare. I remained seated, finishing my coffee, gazing at the partially consumed pancakes on her plate. Later that afternoon, I was on the sofa drafting concepts for a fresh app design, my personal project, when her phone vibrated on the coffee table. She'd forgotten it in her haste to leave. The display illuminated with a notification. "Elliot, looking forward to seeing you tonight. That rooftop spot is ideal for what I have planned," winking face. My heart performed a slow, uneasy turn. I gazed at the notification until the screen dimmed once more. I didn't handle the phone. I didn't need to. The name Elliot was unfamiliar. I'd never heard her mention it. I sat motionless, the pencil still gripped in my hand. The loft suddenly seemed overly silent. I reflected on all the recent late evenings, the way she'd begun to dress more stylishly during the week, the unfamiliar fragrance I couldn't identify. Fragments I'd overlooked or rationalized fell into place with an almost audible snap. When she returned home that evening, chuckling quietly to herself as she removed her shoes, I was in the kitchen brewing tea. She approached from behind, encircling my waist with her arms. "Hey you," she murmured against my shoulder. "Miss me?" "Always," I responded, maintaining an even voice. I rotated, offering her a mug. "How was the networking event?" She accepted the tea, blowing across the surface. "Really productive, actually. Encountered some intriguing individuals. Plenty of vitality. Anyone noteworthy I should hear about?" I asked lightly. She paused for half a second, just enough. "Not particularly, just the regular group." I nodded, sipping my own tea. We discussed trivial matters for a time. Her journey home, the fresh mural on 14th Street, whether we required additional oat milk. Internally, everything felt remote, as though I were observing us from afar. That night in bed, she drifted off swiftly, her breathing gentle and steady beside me. I lay awake, eyes fixed on the ceiling, replaying the notification in my mind. I didn't challenge her. I didn't examine her phone. I simply allowed the realization to sink in, chilly and substantial. The following few weeks unfolded in an odd, cautious rhythm. She continued venturing out more often, professional gatherings, joint sessions, brief meetings with prospective clients. I'd nod, smile, pose mild questions that she evaded skillfully. I prepared meals she sometimes consumed, sometimes bypassed. I repaired the dripping faucet she'd mentioned for months. I maintained the loft tidy, kept the refrigerator filled, remained the reliable one. I began arranging things discreetly. I established a fresh savings account solely in my name. I refreshed my resume, contacted a few former associates regarding freelance prospects. I reserved a brief solo getaway to the coast for the coming month, something I'd long desired but deferred for when we had shared time. I kept it all from her. One Thursday evening, she arrived home later than normal, cheeks rosy from wine or the evening chill. I couldn't discern which. I was at the dining table with my laptop, refining a new portfolio element. She set down her bag, slipped off her heels, and poured herself some water. God, what an evening! She exclaimed, laughing softly. Those individuals are dynamic. I shut my laptop. Sounds enjoyable. It was. She leaned against the counter, observing me. You all right? You've seemed subdued recently. I met her gaze. I'm fine. She angled her head. You sure? You appear withdrawn. This was the moment, the opportunity. I could have inquired about Elliot, about the notifications, about her true destinations. Instead, I drew a deep breath. I've been reflecting, I said, about us. I indicated generally between us. I love you, you know that. Her face relaxed. I love you too. But I don't believe we're progressing in the same direction anymore. She stiffened, glass midway to her mouth. What are you saying? I see how thrilled you become about these new connections, these fresh opportunities. And I recognize that I'm not included in that thrill. That's not, she began, but I lifted a hand softly. It's okay, I said. My voice remained composed, nearly casual. I want you to pursue what brings you joy, and I seek the same for myself. She placed the glass down firmly. Are you ending things with me? No, I said. I'm acknowledging that we've already drifted apart. I'm simply voicing it clearly. Her expression changed, bewilderment, then protectiveness. This feels sudden. I've been attempting to create something larger, yes, but that doesn't indicate I don't desire us. I nodded. I know you think that, but I also know I'm not the excitement you're seeking at the moment. And that's fine. She laughed then, brief and incredulous. You're being absurd. We're solid. We're settled. We have a life here. Settled? I echoed softly. The term lingered between us. She folded her arms. What's the problem with settled? Not everyone requires endless sparks. Nothing's wrong with it, I said. But I don't want to be anyone's reliable option while they're pursuing sparks. Her mouth parted, then closed. For the first time, she appeared rattled. I rose, closing my laptop completely. I'm going to stay at my brother's for a few days. Clear my thoughts. You're leaving? Just like that. I grabbed the small duffel I'd prepared earlier and positioned by the door. Just clothing essentials, my laptop. Nothing theatrical. Not leaving, I said, taking some distance. I'll return for the remaining items next week while you're at work. She trailed me to the door. We can discuss this. We can repair it. I turned, regarded her one final time. She looked lovely, standing there in the hallway glow, eyes wide and abruptly uncertain. We already discussed it, I said softly. You just weren't paying attention. I stepped outside, drew the door shut gently behind me. No bang, no shouts, just the soft click of the latch securing. My brother resided 40 minutes away in a peaceful suburb. He opened the door, examined my expression once, and moved aside without inquiry. That night I rested in his guest room, the walls a soft blue, the quiet profound and pure. The next morning I awoke early, prepared coffee, and began placing calls. Property agents, storage facilities, freelance contacts. I felt oddly unburdened, as if I'd been hauling something weighty for months and had only now become aware. She messaged that afternoon. Please return home, we need to discuss. Then this is crazy, you're blowing it out of proportion. Then I miss you. I read each one, sensed the familiar pull, and allowed it to fade. I didn't respond. Over the following week, I located a compact one-bedroom in another area. Tall ceilings, large windows, short walk to the train. I signed the agreement. I transferred my belongings gradually, always when I knew she'd be absent. The loft appeared smaller with each visit, as if it pertained to an earlier chapter of my existence. I continued working, continued jogging along the Riverside Trail near my new spot, continued developing the freelance career I'd always intended to expand. The days felt complete in a fresh manner, mine to direct. 2 weeks after I departed, my phone rang from an unrecognized number. I nearly ignored it, but I picked up. Hello, it's me. Her voice sounded smaller than before. I got a new phone. You blocked the old one. I remained quiet. I need to comprehend. You walked away like it meant nothing. It wasn't nothing, I said. It was everything. She stayed silent for a long pause. I thought you'd battle for us. I did, I said, for quite a while. Then I understood I was the only one battling. Another pause. Things aren't going smoothly, she confessed at last. The freelance work, it's tougher than expected. Clients are unreliable. I'm falling behind on rent. I listened. I miss how simple it was with you here, she said. How you managed everything. I shut my eyes briefly. I miss aspects of it too, I said, but not enough to return. She began to weep then, gentle, irritated noises. I didn't intend to harm you. I just wanted more. I thought we could manage both. I know, I said. And now you get to discover what more entails without the backup. I concluded the call softly, blocked the new number. A month later, I was at my new preferred cafe, laptop open, completing a major assignment for a client who had just increased my fee. The venue featured exposed brick, excellent lighting, servers who recalled my usual. Someone paused beside my table. I glanced up. She stood there, slimmer, hair cropped, eyes weary. She clutched a takeout cup like a barrier. Hi, she said. Hi, can I? She motioned to the vacant seat. I nodded once. She sat, gripping the cup with both hands. You look well, she said. At ease, thanks. You, she offered a small, ironic smile. Not great. Lost the loft. Staying with a friend temporarily. The entire freelance vision sort of collapsed. I nodded, waited. I understand now, she said softly. What you meant about being settled. I thought it was a criticism, but I relied on it. On you. And when you left, I realized how much I wasn't shouldering my own responsibilities. I sipped my coffee. I was afraid, she continued, of becoming stagnant, of missing chances. So I kept one foot outside, and then you shut it. I met her gaze. You taught me something valuable, I said, that I deserve someone whose commitment is complete. Someone who selects me not because I'm secure, but because I'm their choice. Her lips quivered. Do you think maybe someday? I shook my head without harshness. No. But I hope you discover what you're seeking, truly. She looked down at her cup, nodded. I hope so too. I stood, gathered my laptop, hoisted my bag onto my shoulder. Take care, I said. She observed me depart, and this time she didn't call out. Outside, the afternoon was sunny and crisp. I strolled toward the river, hands in my pockets, breathing freely. The trail ahead stretched open, and for the first time in years, it felt completely mine.